It's the stuff that dreams are made of if you're a truck lover. Mammoth machines soaring skyward. Huge tires flattening the traffic beneath them. A fantasy for anyone who drives a truck or hopes to do so someday. But if you're a monster truck racer, Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania can be a nightmare, as Nightlife's Wayne Smozanic found out last year. He, like so many others, hopes to bounce back from previous disappointments here. Coming up next, we'll see whose dreams of victory come true. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the superstars of the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Nationals Monster Truck Challenge. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we're at the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Summer Nationals at the Bloomsburg Fairgrounds in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. But there is some inclement weather here in north central Pennsylvania, but the old adage is the show must go on. Hi, everybody, I'm Gary Lee. You know, in NASCAR racing, they have the Monster Mile at Dover, the Lady in Black at Darlington, and those treacherous high banks at Talladega. In monster truck racing, there is one facility that certainly gets the heartbeat racing, and it's right here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. And here with more on that is Army Armstrong.
Gary, you're right. The old left lane at Bloomsburg, kind of spooky. A lot of people don't like to run the left lane. As a matter of fact, in the qualifying session, everybody was trying to get quick time of the guy they're running against, so they get lane choice, and they want to go on that right lane. What's so unique about the left lane at Bloomsburg is the fact that when the sport was so new last year, there was so much action that came out of the left lane. At that particular time, it was 100 feet further down the track. Sanctioning bodies were still trying to figure out where exactly to put the finish line. Okay, they've come back, shortened it 100 feet. The drivers like it. They're real comfortable with it. First jump's at the same location. No man's land stays the same. Second jump at the same location. But there is a trump card, and that is Mother Nature. It just started to rain a little bit, and what that does is it makes the track very, very slippery for the monster trucks. And you think, wait a minute, how can a track be slippery for monster trucks with those big old tires, those big old cleats and everything? Well, that's the way the tires come out with the cleats on it. But if you'll notice, these guys have cut those cleats down. They're very, very slippery when they get on wet surfaces. So it's going to be very, very important for these drivers to hit square what they're jumping today. Gary, back to you.
And Army, let's take a look at the round one matchups. The fast qualifier BIGFOOT going against the 7th quick Gravedigger. Then it's Nightmare against number 11 fast UFO. Barefoot with Fred Schaefer against American Made. KRUNCH with Scott Stevens will take on Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. Overkill, the 4th fast qualifier against Wayne Smozanic's Tropical Thunder. And Snakebite will take on No Problem, all in round one competition. And here's a look at the latest creation from Bob Chandler's shops in St. Louis, Missouri. This is BIGFOOT number 10, Andy Brass, the driver. He is the fast qualifier. Now, we're going to take a look at his qualifying run from yesterday. Notice the sunshine. Yesterday it was warm, it was dry. Today, of course, it's very damp. That'll make a difference in the competition. But here is a look at the fast qualifying run for Andy Brass in BIGFOOT number 10. And now he lines up against the Gravedigger, the 1950 Chevy panel wagon driven by Lyle Hancock.
Gary, I find it awfully interesting that these monster trucks are starting to develop their own personality, and probably the two most popular trucks on the circuit draw each other in the first round. The Gravedigger out of North Carolina in the far lane, powered by Chevrolet. Who does he go up against? Bob and Marilyn Chandler, Big Blue, BIGFOOT, Ford. Look at the race.
Going to be all Ford. Big Blue. BIGFOOT takes the victory over Hancock and the Gravedigger. So BIGFOOT will advance. Andy Brass is the fast qualifier from yesterday's round of qualifying. So he will advance to round two competition. He takes the measure of Lyle Hancock. There's a look at the Hancock in the cockpit of the Gravedigger. Obviously, the fans respond as we take a look at the rain falling here at Bloomsburg. They're back there under shelter, so they're dry. We'll take a look again now. And it was right off the start. Andy Brass cut a good light, and it was all BIGFOOT as he takes the victory. Let's go down trackside and visit with Andy Brass.
Andy, tell me about the track.
Well, the track seemed to be pretty decent. You know, everybody was kind of scared of it at first, so was we, you know. We got up against Digger. We knew he was going to have to run hard. I heard him lose something. I thought he maybe lost another transmission. We kind of let off of it down there. But we did stay on it over the first set and stayed on it right after the first set. The truck seemed to go straight and everything, so we thought we was going to hook up good. We was going to make a straight run, and that was all we was worried about.
Well, now run one competition continues. There is a look at Dan If in American-made. That is a 91 Ford F-250. He's come a long way to be here this weekend from Tucson, Arizona. And boy, does he have some competition. He looks off to his right and sees the veteran drag racer in barefoot. This is Fred Schaefer. Fred out of the Illini state of Illinois.
Well, Fred's trying to put the first win together for the Dodge camp. He used to run Chevrolet for many years. A lot of guys kind of swallowed real hard when they saw him rolling with that big Mopar sign on the side of that truck. He wants to win in the worst way. A long way from home, the guy out of Arizona rolls in to go against one of the biggest, baddest trucks in the sport. Watch Schaefer in no man's land. The truck has a tendency to pick a feet out of the water and make all kinds of horsepower.
Remember, this is a slick racetrack here this afternoon with a lot of moisture, rain in the area. And, oh, an easy victory for barefoot. No competition whatsoever.
And you notice he went to the finish line and went away from that center lane. Remember, there's some controversy earlier this year with him crossing a center lane.
Well, there is a look at Heidi Moore. She is anxiously awaiting the first pass by her husband, John Moore, and no problem. That's coming up. Welcome back. We're in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, where Ford Trucks present the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Summer Nationals, a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. Hi, everybody. Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong, and there is a look at Snakebite, Colt Cobra. And Colt will line up against John Moore in the brand-new no-problem truck. There is a look at, again, one of the more popular vehicles on the circuit. And there is one of the brand-new vehicles, no problem.
Yeah, John Moore's teamed up with the new No Problem, a new sponsor, the HPX people. Now, you also see that name on the John Force drag racing car, so they're big into the nuts and bolts of motorsporting, if you will. But Moore has got a tough hill to climb here if he's going to get past the Snakebite. He's not afraid of him, but he knows he's got to leave on him if he's going to beat him on the other end. And that's going to be tough to do because that snake is quick.
It's a tried expression, but the Snakebite does get stronger every race weekend. And look at this. No problem, but the no problem was for the Snakebite. He loses a cover off the rear of that pickup.
And he also turns away from the center line because the shutdown area. See, all that grass is damp. It's slippery right now. So everybody's going over the finish line and then going away from the other guy. Kind of like the Blue Angels doing an arrow maneuver. When they hit the finish line, they shoot away from each other.
That is weird.
Well, Heidi's comment was it's on its wheels, it's all right. Obviously disappointed that he lost the race, but obviously the truck is in one piece. As we look at Scott Stevens in the King Crunch, the auto value King Crunch, and he goes up against the Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina.
Well, these guys have been here before. Stevens, you know, you referred to Heidi talking about being on the wheels. He spent so much time on his lid last year. That's the vehicle closest to us. I think they finally got that chassis squared away. The auto value people have teamed up with this guy, and he's carrying a good number for him.
And he has it. I think he has it. King Crunch. Perseverance paying off for Scott Stevens. He was upside down so many times last year, but he's persevered.
Well, he just worked through his problems, you know. He's got to be tickled to death just to go back and not have to put that thing together after every run.
One more time, almost even. In fact, it looked like Gary Porter had a bit of a hole shot right there. But it's in this area right here where by inches the victory goes to Scott Stevens. He's with Army.
Scott, everybody's running just like it's a hot, dry day. The moisture we were worried about, nobody else seems to be worried about that.
Yeah, Army, the track's a little bit slick, and it's just made a lot better racing for the people here in Bloomsburg. And you got a couple of trucks that have been running real quick all weekend, and just to even things up, this little bit of slick track. You know, auto value and strong arm, you know, we're just ready for the next round.
So we are too ready for the next round. Let's take a look at the matchups now. For round two, Bigfoot knocks out the Gravedigger, so he'll go against Nightmare. Nightmare victorious over UFO. Also in round two competition, Barefoot and Fred Schaefer victorious over American Made. He'll match up against King Crunch Scott Stevens, who you just saw knock out Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. And Overkill has knocked out Tropical Thunder. He'll take on Snakebite, victorious over No Problem. So round two competition getting underway here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. A very muddy track. We've had rain in the area, but once again the fans are up into the grandstand, so they're dry. A little wet out there on the racetrack. We take a look at Kirk Dabney from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He drives Nightmare, and here's what happened in round one. He went up against UFO.
Dabney really came off the right lane, rolled the first jump, and then pulled the trigger on the second jump. The truck is new to him. Dabney's been around, the truck's been around. You put the two of them together, and they're getting that time in the seat. But boy, that starting line is really crucial. Now, look, the drivers are doing dry hops, trying to dig a little bit of a hole where they can get some bite. Andy Brass will be coming out of St. Louis, Missouri in the Bigfoot of Bob and Marilyn Chandler.
We talk about a new truck. Once again, this is a new truck, Bigfoot 10.
A lot of the Bigfoot trucks are out there in a solid blue. You see the red and yellow stripe down the side. That's an indication that it is an all-out racing truck built specifically for this truck. It's supposed to do this. And it does this.
And that is win
well.
races. Win races he does. Andy Brass takes the victory here in round 2.
Well, the Nightmare crew, they know they took a shot. They're new to the sport. They'll be around someday.
Once again, the fans have really crammed under that overhang of the grandstand and stay dry here this afternoon. As there is a look at Fred Schaefer in the Dodge. That is barefoot. Fred Schaefer out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois, the veteran drag racer who brings his many years of racing talent and experience to this type of competition. And he goes up against the youngster from Woodlands, Texas, Scott Stevens, who has moved the KRUNCH auto value operation to Indianapolis, Indiana, to be more centrally located for these long hauls around the country.
That's a smart move. He says he can really save a lot of time and money by basing out of Indianapolis. But right now, time is not on his side. Fred Schaefer shut the door on him.
Fred Schaefer has really come on strong the mid part of this season. He is really a factor to be reckoned with now.
Well, the horsepower has always been there. The question in this sport is the chassis. He's running the Chrysler Hemi engine. This engine was so popular, they put it back into production because they know it'll make horsepower.
All right, Fred takes the victory. He's standing by with Army Armstrong.
Fred, let me jump in here real quick. Like anything else, if you believe in what you're doing, you just got to take the bitter with the sweet and just keep going after it. Today could be that first win for you.
It could be, Army. We'll just hang in there. We're not having any problems today. Everything looks good, and I think we got fast time right now, and it looks real good.
Well, Fred did run a 5:36, which could mean lane choice for the rest of the afternoon. We'll have more round 2 action coming up, so stay with us. Welcome back to Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. There has been a break in the weather, but not in the racing action as round 2 continues. The final race of round 2. A brand new truck on the circuit. This is Overkill with Steve Hess out of Haviland, Ohio.
Okay, now Hess has teamed up with Marty Garza out of South Texas. In the previous round, he put the South Florida guy on the trailer big time. Tropical Thunder, no way could handle this new truck. The Overkill truck, engine located to the rear. Driver Steve Hess has been around. Garza's been around. They're pooling their efforts to try to go to head of this monster truck field. But in order to do that, you got to get past guys like this.
Colt Cobra out of Cobra Creek, Colorado. There's a mouthful. The snakebite truck. And this will be the final matchup in round 2 competition. Overkill, a new truck with a veteran driver against the snakebite.
Both drivers working the lights. Boy, they both leave good. Garza up a little bit in the far lane. Not going to work for him. Snakebite.
Now, the snakebite made that one look easy.
Again, when they land, they're shooting away from the other guy, though. Boy, they do not want to get anywhere near that center lane, do they, Gary?
So now we'll take a look at the matchups going into the semifinals. Bigfoot against Nightmare. Barefoot against Snakebite. And one of those 4 will take the victory here this afternoon in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. There is a look at Nightmare.
Now, this truck was previously driven by Steve Hess, driver of the Overkill truck. You got to remember, it's kind of like the silly season in NASCAR. These guys are starting to move around to seek the level of competition they want to be. There is one consistency. The blue Fords still run quick.
Andy Brass is in the cockpit of Bigfoot number 10. There's no changing of drivers in that particular vehicle. And it's going to be, once again, all Andy Brass. So Andy Brass will be in the final championship. He crosses the center line, but no contact. Remember, the rule states if you cross and make contact, you're disqualified.
Something broke on that truck. When he landed, you could see him working the throttle. He had to burp the throttle and try to get it settled down. Watch it. He'll land. Relatively good land. Now it comes good land for a monster truck. Now it comes around. Now he has to go to the throttle right now. Watch the wheel spin. See?
Once again, he crossed the center line but made no contact, so that victory will stand as we take a look at Barefoot, the Dodge with the big Dodge Hemi. And this is Fred Schaefer, and he goes up against Colt Cobra in Snakebite.
This reminds you of when you're in high school and the 2 bullies walked into the gym at the same time. Neither one was going to blink. This time, one's in a Ford in the far lane, one's in the Dodge in the near lane. Watch no man's land.
The winner goes to the final shootout. It's all Fred Schaefer.
Wow, big time.
And Snakebite crosses the center line. And look at the jubilation from the crew there as Fred Schaefer will go up against Andy Brass and Bigfoot in the championship. Could this be his day? Could this be the first victory for the Dodge?
Gary, you can feel the drama starting to build right now. Schaefer wants to drill that big blue Ford.
And as we take a look at the replay as Fred Schaefer knocks out Snakebite, remember the last time Schaefer and Andy Brass were side by side in the championship heat, Fred won, but was disqualified for crossing the center line and making contact with that big blue truck. So he'll certainly have that in mind as he prepares for the championship shootout here at Bloomsburg. He's back in the paddock area, climbs out of the truck, and Army Armstrong is down there with Fred Schaefer.
Fred Schaefer, just to make a long story short, this could be the run you have been looking for.
This is the one, Army. This is the one I'm going to really concentrate on and put it all together.
Who gets lane choice?
I have to check the times, but I've been running faster every run all day. I think it's going to be me.
Just call it the Dr. Scholl's Championship because it's an all-foot shootout coming up next. Welcome back to Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, where Ford Trucks present the PENDA four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Summer Nationals, a part of the BF Goodrich Performance Series. These Jamborees offer a host of activities for the truck lover, as well as the entire family. So to find out more, call or write the Special Events Promotion Company. Well, the crowd is standing by, eagerly awaiting the championship. Let's go down now, trackside to Army Armstrong.
We're going to the final at Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. The lanes, they're the same. The track conditions, it's the same. What I'm telling you, Gary, this is going to be just literally an all-out street fight between two guys. I'm going to be up front with you. They're not really friends. One of them drives a Dodge. He's trying to put the first win together on national television for Mopar, Chrysler Corporation. But in the other lane, a guy that wants to win just as bad for Ford Motor Company, Bigfoot and Barefoot. A Dr. Scholl's final, if you will. Let's take it, Gary.
Once again, it's Dodge against Ford. And really, we have to emphasize that although it's a brand new truck, they're still working out the bugs of the new Bigfoot vehicle. And, of course, the Barefoot Dodge still looking for the first win of the year for this Dodge vehicle. But earlier, before these guys started out to stage, we had a chance to visit with Andy Brass, the driver of Bigfoot.
Andy Brass laying all the cards on the table. No friendship here, just the winner.
That's right. You know, Fred's been running hard. We've been watching. You know, the time's been real close here. Fred got lane choice on us. He's going to pull us in the left lane, you know. We don't have but one chance, so we're just going to run for all it's worth there and see what we can do, you know. We don't like the left lane because it's been throwing the guys real high in the air at the end, but it's just something we're going to have to deal with this round.
Well, of course, Bigfoot was the fast qualifier. Barefoot was the third fast qualifier, but in competition, Barefoot has been the quickest, so he has lane choice, and he, no surprise, chooses the right lane.
Both drivers have completed their dry hops, their stage, they're off. We're into the final. Who's it going to be, Gary?
It is Barefoot. Barefoot by less than a fender. Hang on. He almost crosses the center line, but this will be the first victory for the Dodge. Barefoot with the big Dodge Hemi takes the victory over Bigfoot and the Ford power plant.
You win on Sunday, you sell vehicles on Monday. That's why Dodge is in the sport, Gary.
Well, Dodge returns to the sport in a big way, so Fred Schaefer, the drag racing veteran from Pontoon Beach, Illinois, takes the victory here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. Today, it's Dodge over Ford. Our congratulations to Fred Schaefer, trackside Andy Brass down to congratulate the victor. Let's see if we can't get a word with both of them. Army?
Andy, real quick, come here a minute. You know, I saw you come over to shake his hand. You guys, you're not enemies, you're not friends, you're racers. You did a good job, he did a good job, it was his day.
That's right. You know, Fred's been running real hard. We've been working on the truck. We've been coming up there. Times has been real close today, you know, and we knew it was going to be a good run, and we run as best as what we could, and Fred did, and he just got us a little bit.
Fred, thanks a lot, Andy. We appreciate you coming over. Fred, the guys at Dodge are going to be tickled to death. Congratulations to you. You worked awfully hard to get here.
Thank you very much. My crew really helped me to get this thing together to do this. We got a lot of problems over the weekend, broke a lot of parts, and we keep thrashing, and here's where we're at.
Yeah, but the bottom line is you don't quit, and you're going to the winner's circle. Congratulations again. A great job.
Thank you very much, Army.
You can hear the emotion in Fred's voice. It's been a long, trying season. Picks up his first victory. Let's look at it one more time. From the end zone camera coming right at you. Look at him float over those cars. Gathers it in the shutdown area. Does not cross the center line. and takes the victory here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. So, on a rainy day, it was barefoot out in front of all the other monster trucks. And our congratulations to Fred Schaefer out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois.
Gary, this was a day a lot of the monster truck drivers actually lived in fear of. The day that Schaefer and Dodge would take the first win. Maybe the start of something big.
For Army Armstrong, I'm Gary Lee. We'll see you next week for another edition of Trucks and Tractor Power. Now here's news of an exciting video.